So now I'm going to talk a little bit about my practice kit. So this is the TAMA True Touch training kit or practice kit. And TAMA did a fantastic job designing a kit that feels very, very close to real drums, which is, massively important for me. And they did a good job with the tom pads. They all have a little bit of tone to them. So they're different sizes, and because of the way that they're shaped, they all have just a little bit of a tone. So you kind of get the idea which one is which. The snare pad sounds a lot like a real snare. I personally like to set it onto an actual snare drum, because then you get the added benefit of the snare wires buzzing a little bit on the snare. And then also I can get it to the exact height that I like it. The kick pad is great. It has kind of a bassy tone to it, but enough attack where you still hear everything clearly. I probably spend at least 50% of my practice time on a practice kit like this. I find it much easier to practice articulation and accuracy with a practice kit like this, because I'm not getting hit with a huge wall of sound from, like real cymbals, real drums. I feel like I can clearly hear every note that I'm playing. So I'm able to hear all of the inaccuracies of what I'm doing, and it's easier then to, figure out what's wrong and fix it. And then obviously, because they're so quiet, I can practice that kind of stuff whenever I want without bothering, my family or my neighbors. And whenever I've, put videos out playing on practice pads or, using practice cymbals, people tend to ask a lot why I would practice on something like this. Why not just get an electric kit? And, the reason for that is, these are specifically designed to emulate real drums. So if your goal is to get better at playing real drums, but you need to be able to practice quietly because you live in an apartment or your neighbors are getting mad or whatever the reason, then something like this is specifically designed for that. These are designed to feel as close to real drums and real cymbals as possible. And I've never played an electric kit that felt anything close to real drums. The drums are always way too bouncy. The pads that are supposed to be cymbals never feel like cymbals, never respond like cymbals. And so, if you spend a couple hours playing on an electric kit, you get really comfortable with it, and then you go sit down on a real kit, it always feels terrible. And at least in my experience, suddenly I feel like I can't play a lot of the things because, an electric kit is not designed to feel like real drums. It's designed for other things. And there's a lot of good reasons to get electric kits, for recording purposes and volume control purposes of gigs and things. But if I'm trying to develop the technical skills required to play real drums, practicing on electric drums just never worked for me personally. You go from playing these to playing, a real kit with real cymbals. There's not much difference. They basically feel the same. If anything, real cymbals have a little bit more rebound to them. They're a little easier to play, right? And I feel the same way about the True Touch pads that TAMA made. They're very close to feeling like real drums, but if anything, they're just a little bit more challenging to play because they don't have quite as much rebound. And that's what I love about them. When I have a practice kit, what I want is for it to be just a little bit more challenging to play. So when I go from playing this for, an hour or two, and then I sit down on a real kit, the real kit feels a little bit better than the practice kit did. So for me, having a practice kit like this has become a really essential part of my development. I spend so much time training on this kind of kit, and I highly recommend it for anybody who is just trying to develop all the necessary skills to play real drums, but you need to be able to control the volume.